And welcome back, everyone, to Lantern Corp. From Sheridan Road and someone whose name I also butchered begins with an F. We have Zapp Brannigan, the illustrious. What I can't remember. Is he just a captain? I don't know if he ever got promoted, especially like the newer season. But I do know he was captain most of the time. So Captain Zapp Brannigan. Now I actually considered also just adding, depending on the image I was able to find for the thumbnail, I was considering just adding Kiff into this too. Got a sexy learning disability. What do I call it, Kiff? Sex Lexia. The jackass wants you to join him. um, so Zapp is a kind of fun character to do a Lantern Corps for because he's a parody of Kirk, William Shatner. In terms of though, like the emotional, like the emotional, not majority, what the strongest emotional core to him is, that is a little tricky. Because if I go through a bunch of these, like he's certainly not a Green Lantern, so this is one time we're definitely not looking at Green Lanterns. He's also not really a Yellow Lantern. Despite his reputation, he does not inspire a lot of fear or scare anyone. He's also not a Rage Lantern, that's for certain. I would say, if I'm then to go to the other side of the fence, well, he certainly had moments of just like crying. You want the rest of the champagne? I believe it's pronounced champagne. Oh, God, no! I'm so lonely. By the way, someone did say that sorrow counts for nihilism. No, sorrow and nihilism are not the same thing. Um, and sorrow is just extreme sadness. Nihilism is literally thinking nothing matters. Like, it is the complete absence of caring for anything. So I guess technically speaking, someone who's nihilistic would qualify maybe for the Lanterns of Compassion. You'd have to figure out how a nihilism core works. But sorrow and nihilism, while not completely disconnected from each other, it's not the same. Someone who's feeling a large amount of sorrow might feel a little nihilistic, but someone who's nihilistic is not feeling sorrow. They feel nothing. That's the key difference there. I feel like nothing matters in the emptiness of it. So if you could figure out a way to differentiate nihilism from compassion, because to be fair, someone who's nihilistic probably would qualify for compassion, but if you could make a distinction between the two, that'd be pretty, advantageous. But anyway, apart from moments of just breaking down, no, he's not a Sorrow Lantern. He's also not a Gold Lantern. This is a guy who's gone through a lot of his life, as far as we know. We don't know a lot of his early days. Gone throughout the series, though, when we've seen him, he's not been perpetually happy. He's been down and out a lot of times. But that's ironically, there's a lot of times where he's a lot more confident and positive than Sorrowful. So you could honestly make an argument he could have been a Gold Lantern at one point. I don't think he's a Lantern of Life. He's killed too many people. And I don't think he's a Lantern of Death. He's not the embodiment of death. I also don't think he's a Lantern of Hope. I don't think that really works well in his favor. That being said, he's kind of an endless optimist, so I guess there's an argument, at least. I'm going to just angle this down a little bit more. So that brings us now to our three main Lantern Corps. And look, how lustful this man is, Lantern Corps of Love. The Star Sapphires definitely have to be in contention there. This is simply just due to the fact that he's a man who's clearly driven by lust, by wanting something, he wants Leela specifically. And he will kind of go to some underhanded methods to get that affection. Now, is that actual love? No, but things like lust and desire do qualify for this core as well. So I think love is a very strong candidate for Zapp, even if it's a misguided love. But at the same time, because of that, he's also kind of a selfish dude. Like, I would think avarice might be on the table here. Not really in the same metric as someone, say, like Lex Luthor, who did qualify for an Avarice Lantern ring, or someone who just is never constantly satisfied. No, it's just he just wants things, he enjoys things, and he'll do, like, again, he is lusting after Leela. That can also kind of qualify for greed because he's just not taking no for an answer. But I think it still would qualify more for lust. I think avarice is at least on the table, but I think love overcomes that. But last but not least, there is one wild card here. I think shame is an option. Now, before I can talk about shame, let me talk about the other Lantern Corp that that I didn't bring up. Compassion. He does have levels of compassion to him. He can't, especially if you get to the final, the most recent season of Hulu, where he went through, I believe, sensitivity training. He did, in fact, learn some sense that he got some compassion to him. So it's not his defining trait, but he's not devoid of it. So you can't be a lantern of compassion one way or the other. But shame, this is a guy who does end up feeling quite a bit of shame. Now, granted, he has no shame in what he does towards Leela or other women, but he does. Now, and you can make the argument that, like, their first meeting where, he tricks her into bed, that was all a manipulation, but you actually do get the impression he did feel a little ashamed at points of what he did. And as we go through the series further, it's clear this guy does carry shame with him. He just masks it with the bravado of this, and that, or he's just completely delusional, which is a fair argument also. I think, though, it's clear he does have some shame to him. I don't know, though, if the shame is strong enough to outweigh his lust. Personally, I would probably lean more towards the Lantern Corp of love. I think that is the more logical choice for him, because this is a guy who's just constantly lusting after Leela. And like will kind of, and other women, and just not say no for an answer. So I would probably go love, but he's definitely an interesting character. He has a couple odd emotional spectrums he can qualify for. Plus, like I said, there are at least some base arguments for hope. He's kind of like an eternal optimist. He has killed a lot of people, so while I don't think he could be a Black Lantern, it's still an option. And he did have a reputation about him, so maybe at one point he could have been a Fear Lantern, and maybe before things went south, he could have been a Gold Lantern. There's a lot of roads you could take here. Let me know in the comments below if you can make an explanation for any of the other Lanterns apart from the ones I just suggested. I mean, the main three. So let me know in the comments below what you think. Until then, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Like, comment, share, and subscribe. As always, who wants to review something, put in the comments below. Let us know. We'll do a review of it at some point. And I'll see you guys for the next one.